Of the storm. 3. Part 1. Human person as an embodied spirit. Okay, so our objective in this particular session is para pag-usapan si pare. No? Since we're speaking about man, din naisip ko yung word na pare para i-systematize itong ating objective. Ano itong pare na ito? P means person. We will talk about what composes person. What are the elements that makes up a person. Pangalawa, so that we will have a better understanding of what person is, we will compare or contrast animal to person. And ang pangatlo, si R. Pero by the way, mayroon akong twist niyan mamaya. Pangatlo is ito na yung embodiment. Kasi nga this particular session is human person as an embodied spirit, kaya pag-uusapan natin itong si embodiment. Si Art, it's up to you to find out kung ano yan mamaya. Okay? So, we will start right away. Kaya, since this is the beginning of our discussion in our course itself, Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person, then I would say it's philosophy of the human person time. Kasi noon, philosophy time pa lang yun. It's not yet philosophy of the human person. Kaya ngayon ko talaga sasabihin, it's philosophy of the human person time. Okay? So, to start, let us talk about these terms. Itong mga terms na ito, man, human, person, human person. Kung titingnan natin, parang pare-pareho lang naman. If we will talk on it in our own language, they are just the same, but there is a difference in terms of technicality. In terms of technicalities, there are different. When we say man, it is used as a general term which is commonly used to refer to the entire human race. Entire human race. In other words, human person and human person can also be called as man, can be generalized as man, because the term man refers to the entire human race. When we say human alone without person, it refers to a man as a species. No? Yung Homo sapiens or modern human beings. Kaya when you say human alone, you are speaking of us as a species, either Homo habilis, Homo erectus. That is the term, this is where the term human is used. Next, person. It is much more complex term which generally refers to a human being granted recognition of certain rights, protection, as well as responsibilities. Okay? Much more complex because it refers to us as a human person with dignity. It refers to man with dignity, with certain rights, as well as with responsibilities, with freedom, as well as with responsibilities. This is where person butts in. Okay? Pag tinutukoy natin yung man with certain rights, protection, responsibilities, freedom, then ang gagamitin natin na term is person. And the last one is the human person, which refers to the individual and all the attributes and characteristics that set him or her apart from other beings. In other words, when you use the term human person, what makes a man different from animals? What makes a man different from plants? What makes a man different from sun? It refers to the individual and attributes, no, as well as characteristics that set him or her apart or different from other beings. Kasi when we say beings, we refer to all things that can be seen on earth. So gagamitin natin si human person kung i-differentiate natin ang man sa ibang beings. Okay? Kaya, introduction to the philosophy of the human person. In other words, we are speaking of the apartment or the difference of man with others. We are speaking on the characteristics as well as the attributes of man itself compared to other beings. Kaya ngayon pa lang, simulan na natin i-differentiate for us to have an understanding. By the way, itong next na text na ito, wala ito sa inyong module, but I want this one to share so that when we go to human person as an embodied spirit, we'll have a clear definition of what human person is. Okay? So, by the way, may task ako dito na naibigay kasi na to eh. I just want to share this that matagal ko na tong ginawa nung first day of teaching pa. Kaya mayroong mga activities, mayroong mga group activities. But try to look at yourself. When you are tasked to do this, imagine that you were to have a better understanding of what human person can do. Okay. So, while animals do possess consciousness, yes, every animals do possess consciousness. They are conscious of their surroundings. Even they have eyes, they have senses. However, human self-consciousness or the capacity for reflection. Okay? So, or rationalization. Tanungin mo ang bata, anong nangyari sa kanya last week, maalala niya pa. Pero tanungin mo yung dog, tanungin mo yung elepante, tanungin mo yung cat, anong nangyari sa iyo last week? Of course, you cannot communicate it already. Okay? Next, while animals do make choices, there does not seem to be any deliberateness in their acts of choosing. Humans alone choose self-consciously and willfully. Access volitional freedom. When we say volitional freedom, ito lang yon, no? Self-conscious and willful choosing. In other words, tayo lang yung makakapag-isip na, ay, ituloy ko ba yung pagpunta dito? Other animals cannot do that. Ay, ituloy ko ba yung pag-aaral ko? Other animals cannot do that. Okay? Next, toil and work are inevitable aspects of all animal life because they work for survival. But for us humans, work assumes a profound and new dimension. Work for a human being is not simply a prerequisite for survival yet. Rather, work humanizes human being, giving him her a chance to live life more fully. In your status right now, wherein you does not have a particular work where you are being paid, pero yung work ninyo sa bahay, kung hindi siya ma-appreciate ng inyong parents, kung hindi siya ma-appreciate ng inyong mga kapatid, isn't it, we will feel hurt or we will feel kakaiba. Just for us, work humanizes us. Work humanizes us. Though all animals must die someday, and though all instinctively resist it, humans seem to be the only animal whose entire life is molded by his or her awareness of death. How a human being lives his or human person in general through character traits. So number one is self-awareness. It refers to the person's clear perception of oneself, which includes her thoughts, emotions, identity, as well as actions. To self-awareness, it refers to our own consciousness at the present. We are aware that we are speaking and we are having a class in introduction to the philosophy of the human person. We are aware that we are using StreamYard at particular moment. So this is one of the character trait of human person. We are aware of our emotion at the moment. We are aware of our identity. We know what is our section. We know kung saan tayo nag-aaral. We are aware of our actions in which nanonood kayo at nagsasalita ako dito. Ako as a human person, I am aware that I am speaking right now. I am aware with myself. Next, self-determination. The capability of persons to make choices and decisions based on their preferences, monitor and regulate their actions, and be goal-oriented and self-directed. So, we are, again, sinabi ko doon kanina, we are the only person who can make choices based on our preference, based on our actions, based on what we want as a being. So we have this trait of self-determination. We are self-determining individual. Next, externality. It is a capability to reach out and interact with others and the world. Kaya natin kausapin yung mga iba, even animals na sometimes, no, as a being, kinakausap natin yung mga ibang mga foreigners. We can reach them out, even our expanded families, yung mga kaibigan natin sa labas. We are the only person who have that capability. We are the only being who have that capability. Reach out and interact with others and the world. So that is a human person. Now, what composes human person? What makes a human person? This is the first thing that we need to understand before we go any further. Okay? So, ano yung mga elements na nagkukumpose sa atin bilang tao? Okay? So, meron pa palang pang-apat, dignity. So, okay. Dignity. Innate right to be valued and to be respected. Yes. We are the only being who have this one. Animals don't have this. No? right to be valued and be respected. Although sometimes there are unfair treatments, but we are speaking here of innate. Supposedly, each of us individual persons, human persons, have this dignity to be valued and be respected compared to other beings. Okay, so we will now focus on human person as an embodied spirit. Now that we have a background of what human person is, we will now talk about human person as an embodied spirit. We will talk about the composition. Tanggalin nyo muna itong embodied spirit para maano na ito. What makes up man? What is the composition of man? And in which itong embodied spirit na ito, this is the answers of all philosophers. Man is composed of an embodied spirit. So, before we will proceed, and ito na yung claim ngayon ng philosophers. We are all an embodied spirit. Spirit plus body. Now, this view maintains that the human person is formed by the unity of body and soul, or body and spirit. It also believes that the body and soul cannot exist independently from one another. In other words, they are independent. What makes us a human person is that because we are an embodied spirit plus body. Pag sinabi nating spirit, again, in philosophical context, in philosophy context, this is not yung mga kalab, kundi yung entity na yan na nagpapagalaw na parang imposible na kung wala siya, kayang gawin ng katawan. Okay? So that makes up the spirit here. So we are an embodied spirit. We are composed of a spirit plus the body. We are not composed of the brain alone. It is not only the brain that makes up, that makes us different from other beings, but there is an entity, there is an unseen element within us that makes us powerful as a human person. It is not the brain alone, it is not the organs alone, but there is something inside me, inside you, inside of everybody that is working, that is acting for us to be a human person, for us to be a powerful human person, wherein we are characterized with abstract reasoning, we are characterized with ability to do more beyond what our body can do. So this is us as a human person. Okay? So, ito nga, we are spirit plus body equals human person or an embodied spirit. Okay, so this ends our discussion in this particular section.